I don't want you to agree with me or disagree with me, but I came to express this view. And I went, when the decision was made, I went to see President Ramaphosa, that whatever happens, you may have to give President Zuma a presidential pardon. Flew a lot of people into this city, in and out, trying to mediate this underground to avoid what happened there in July. Because I knew what was going to happen. I was involved.
Should Jacob Zuma go back to prison? I don't think it's a good idea. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. There are those who are saying Jacob Zuma should go back to prison because it will be important for the rule of law, to prove that no one is above the law and that all citizens are equal, and that if you break the law, you should go to prison. There are 3 things that I think we all need to consider before we embrace this view fully. And those 3 reasons are the following. Number 1, national unity. I think that there's a real credible risk to national unity on a variety of levels. Number 1, racial. Number 2, tribal. Number 3, social. And those risks to unity, I think, are so significant that we should take pause about being very energetic about just saying Zuma should go back to jail.
We've woken up to the news this morning that the government has once again weaseled out of standing up for the rule of law and the Constitution, and chosen through a cynical, manipulative move to set Jacob Zuma free. Surprise, surprise, he's the beneficiary of a brand new policy, the first beneficiary of a brand new policy that will see tens of thousands of prisoners released because of so-called overcrowding. This is yet another example about how this government, and particularly our president, who has once again shown his spinelessness, walking out on the principles that we should hold dear in any democracy, the rule of law and equality before the law. This is a cynical manipulation of the justice system as well as the powers of government, and demonstrates yet again why it is so fundamentally important for us to replace this government with a new government next year. The Moonshot Pact, the convention.
I always say we need to move away from the politics of desperation to the politics of inspiration, because people are looking to be inspired in this world, not just this country. The more we push people, we take them along a journey of destruction, we take them along a journey of hate. It's going to be difficult to undo this hate that you've instilled in people for years. The blame game of whose fault it is for this, the conditions you're living in. We need to say to people to get out of these conditions, we need to band together and we need to make this thing.
I'm a free man.
Yes, you're a free man!
South Africa's former president Jacob Zuma has been spared from returning to prison, with officials saying this to ease overcrowding. Zuma, who was sentenced to 15 months for contempt of court, surrendered himself to the authorities on Friday. President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to grant his predecessor, Jacob Zuma, special remission has been described by Action SA as setting a dangerous precedent that erodes the broader principle of unlawful acts having consequences. Laradongo Beni said, "This release of 9,488 criminals back into society to save Zuma from serving further prison time makes a mockery of the criminal justice system in South Africa, by demonstrating once again that President Ramaphosa puts the ANC first and the country second." Ronald Lamola said on Friday. President Cyril Ramaphosa has approved the remission of non-violent offenders in South Africa, Lamola told a media briefing. Obviously a question will arise whether former President Zuma will benefit from this decision or not. Indeed, he is one of the beneficiaries. Asked whether Zuma will be subject to any form of supervision, Thobekale said the former president would not be on parole, but prison services would remain in contact with all those whose sentences were remitted. The ANC has welcomed former President Jacob Zuma's remission status. ANC spokesperson Malingi Bengu Matsiri said the decision should not be read in a manner that projects the country as a failed state. "We welcome the decision on the remission of sentence of former President Jacob Zuma alongside a number of offenders. We are confident in the resilience and robustness of our judiciary and law enforcement agencies. We have no reason to doubt our judiciary, and there is no truth that there is a failed state." The Democratic Alliance, DA, has slammed the new special remission program announced on Friday, under which Jacob Zuma's managed to dodge the remainder of his 15-month contempt sentence. The DA's John Steenhuisen called the decision a clear bid to keep Zuma out of prison. That was very clearly designed in a very cynical way to ensure Mr. Zuma, once again, escapes accountability for his acts of omission and commission in South Africa. The president, Cyril Ramaphosa, was also required to release almost 10,000 criminals back onto the streets of South Africa, where no doubt, with the high recidivism rates in South Africa, will be perpetrating crimes against the people of South Africa before too long. This yet another example of how our government, and particularly our president, who has once again shown his spinelessness, walking out on the principles that we should all hold dear in any democracy. The rule of law and equality before the law, says Steenhuisen. Duduzane Zuma. 2024 is in less than a year. A political decision had to be taken. Most importantly, humanity prevailed today. My father must rest now. He fought against the evil apartheid regime, and he is now constantly watching over his back against his own. History will absolve you, Nshamalala. Mukitha. You should be thankful. If it wasn't for the ANC, he'd still be in limbo. Thing is, he's finished. This all was just out of pity. There's really no need to continue punishing him. He will no longer bring harm. Be honest with him and advise him to respect the laws of this country. Toko says. Nobody wants to admit that Cyril Ramaphosa is a worse president than Jacob Zuma, because nobody wants to admit that education is not everything. Since they said Jacob Zuma is uneducated, it's hard to say he was better, because that threatens the whole system. Thank you for watching our video. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel.